Wealth is not an accident. It is a mindset, a series of intentional choices, and a daily discipline. When I began studying the habits of the wealthy, I realized they weren't just lucky. They thought, acted, and lived differently. Over time, I adopted some of these habits, and they transformed my life, not only financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Wealthy people don't just focus on money, they focus on growth, on purpose, and on creating value. They understand that success is the result of small, consistent actions repeated every single day. It's not about overnight wins, but about building systems that bring results again and again. Today, I'm going to share 8 habits of wealthy people that completely changed my life. These habits are not exclusive to millionaires. You can start implementing them today, no matter where you are in life. If you commit to them, they will not only increase your income, but also elevate your mindset, your confidence, and your freedom. Wealthy people know something that most overlook. Money can be lost and made again, but time, once gone, is gone forever. They guard their hours like a treasure chest. Every moment has a purpose, whether it's building their business, developing a skill, strengthening their health, or nurturing relationships that matter. They understand that wasted time is wasted opportunity, and wasted opportunity is wasted wealth. When they wake up in the morning, they know exactly what their priorities are, and they execute them without hesitation. While the average person might get caught in a cycle of procrastination, binge watching, or mindless scrolling, wealthy individuals remain highly intentional with their days. They schedule their hours in advance, leaving room for both productivity and rejuvenation, but rarely for mindless activities. They approach their calendar the same way an investor approaches a portfolio, making sure each time investment produces a return. If something doesn't move them toward their vision, it doesn't get their attention. This habit often means making hard choices, saying no to social events that don't align with their goals, cutting off conversations that drain energy, and resisting the temptation to engage in every minor distraction. Wealthy people understand the opportunity cost of saying yes to the wrong things. They would rather be underestimated for staying focused than applauded for being busy. They don't mistake motion for progress. They care only about results. Another crucial difference is how they value other people's time. Wealthy people show up on time, respect deadlines, and come prepared for meetings. They understand that time respect builds trust and influence. And because they know time is finite, they're not afraid to delegate or hire help, so they can focus on high-value tasks. This isn't arrogance, it's strategic. They save their mental and physical energy for decisions that truly move the needle. They also operate with a sense of urgency, not in a rushed, chaotic way, but in a way that acknowledges life is short. They don't put off starting a business, making an investment, or having that important conversation. They know the perfect time rarely comes, so they move now and adjust along the way. This proactive approach allows them to seize opportunities that others miss because they were waiting for the right moment. Ultimately, wealthy people treat each day as an irreplaceable resource to them. Every hour spent is an exchange, something they will never get back. So they ask themselves daily, am I spending my time building my future, or am I spending it making someone else richer? This awareness keeps them sharp, driven, and deeply protective of their schedule, making time their most powerful wealth-building tool. Wealthy people understand that the greatest investment they will ever make is in themselves. Long before they invest in stocks, real estate, or businesses, they invest in knowledge. They read books that stretch their thinking, listen to podcasts that challenge their perspective, and attend seminars where they can absorb wisdom from those who have already achieved success. They see learning not as a phase of life, but as a lifelong responsibility, a constant sharpening of the mind to stay ahead in an ever-changing world. Unlike the average person who might stop actively learning after school, Wealthy individuals maintain a student mindset until their last breath. They know industries evolve, markets shift, and strategies change, so staying informed is not optional. It's survival. The ability to adapt to new trends, technology, and opportunities comes from this constant feeding of the mind. And it's not just about gathering random information. It's about gathering the right information that moves them closer to their goals. This commitment to learning often means they spend more time with books than with television, more time in mastermind groups than in gossip circles, and more time listening than talking. They immerse themselves in environments where ideas flow freely, where they can be the dumbest person in the room, because they know that in those moments, they're actually growing the most. Their ego doesn't need to be the smartest. Their ambition needs to be the sharpest. Wealthy people also understand the power of specialized knowledge. They focus on mastering skills that have high value in the marketplace, whether it's sales, negotiation, leadership, marketing, or investing. They go deep instead of wide. They'd rather be exceptional at a few things that pay well than average at many things that pay little. This targeted learning allows them to become authorities in their field, which in turn creates more opportunities for wealth and influence. Another thing that separates them is how they act on what they learn. They don't just consume information for the sake of feeling productive. They implement. They test ideas, take calculated risks, and refine strategies based on what works in the real world. Knowledge without action is just potential, and wealthy people refuse to let that potential sit idle. They turn their learning into results, and those results compound over time. Finally, wealthy individuals are not afraid to pay for wisdom. They hire coaches, attend premium events, and even buy expensive courses because they know the right information can save them years of trial and error. They understand that the cost of ignorance is far greater than the cost of education. To them, learning is not an expense. It's an income multiplier, a way to shortcut the mistakes and accelerate the wins. This relentless hunger for growth is why they stay ahead, even when the rest of the world falls behind. Wealthy people rarely rely on a single paycheck. They understand that depending on one source of income is like building a house on one pillar, unstable and risky. If that pillar collapses, the entire structure comes down. So instead, they build multiple pillars, different income streams that support their lifestyle and financial goals. Some streams are active, requiring their daily involvement, while others are passive, allowing money to flow in even when they sleep. This diversity shields them from financial instability and ensures they always have cash flow, no matter what happens in the economy. They see money as a worker, something that should be put to work in different jobs across different areas. A wealthy person might own a business, invest in real estate, hold stocks and bonds, have intellectual property bringing in royalties, and even collect dividends from companies they own shares in. Each of these streams works independently, so even if one slows down, the others keep generating income. This is why they can weather economic storms without panic, while others scramble to survive when a single paycheck disappears. What makes this approach powerful is that most of these streams didn't appear overnight. Wealthy people often start with one source, master it, and then use the profits from it to create another. They reinvest not just into their main business, but into side ventures that align with their skills, interests, and long-term vision. Over time, these small streams merge into a river of income that flows steadily, giving them true financial freedom. Another key aspect is that wealthy individuals choose streams that complement each other. For example, someone who owns a marketing agency might also run an online course teaching marketing, invest in companies that need marketing expertise, and write a book on marketing strategies. Each stream reinforces the others, making the overall income stronger and more sustainable. This strategic overlap means they're not constantly starting from scratch. They're building on a foundation they already know well. They also value passive income, the kind that doesn't require constant time and effort once it's set up. Real estate rentals, dividend, paying stocks, automated online businesses, and intellectual property royalties are just a few examples. This allows them to scale their wealth without being chained to their desks. Passive income frees them to pursue passion projects, travel, spend time with loved ones, and still grow financially. They're not trading time for money. They're trading ideas, systems, and assets for money. Most importantly, multiple income streams give them peace of mind. They're not worried about losing a job or a client because their survival doesn't depend on one source. Instead of living in fear, they operate from a place of security and creativity. They can take more calculated risks, explore new opportunities, and make decisions for long-term growth without being desperate for short-term cash. This financial flexibility is one of the core reasons why the wealthy stay wealthy, and why those who adopt this habit eventually join their ranks. One of the biggest misconceptions about wealthy people is that they became rich because they spent big. In reality, many of them reached financial freedom by doing the opposite, living below their means in the early stages. While others chased the latest cars, gadgets, and vacations, they focused on building a solid financial foundation. They understood that wealth is created by what you keep and reinvest, not by what you spend to impress others. This quiet discipline often happens behind the scenes, where the outside world might mistake them for being cheap, when in fact they're being strategic. Wealthy people know that lifestyle inflation, the tendency to increase spending as income grows, can be a trap that keeps even high earners broke. Instead of matching every raise or business profit with a bigger house or fancier car, they maintain a modest lifestyle while redirecting the extra money into investments. This is the period where sacrifices compound into future freedom. By living below their means at first, they give their money time to multiply, turning thousands into hundreds of thousands, and eventually into millions. This mindset is rooted in delayed gratification. While most people want to look richer right away, wealthy individuals are willing to wait. They understand that a few years of restraint can lead to decades of abundance. They focus on acquiring assets, things that put money in their pocket, before acquiring liabilities, things that take money out. For them, the goal is not to flash wealth but to grow it. So when they finally upgrade their lifestyle, they can sustain it without debt or stress. It's also about resisting societal pressure. In a world driven by social media, where every other post is about luxury purchases and picture-perfect vacations, it takes real strength to ignore the urge to keep up. Wealthy people remind themselves that most of the luxury lifestyles people flaunt are funded by credit cards, not actual wealth. They'd rather build quietly and let their financial reality speak for itself later than to fake success now and pay for it later. Living below their means doesn't mean they deprive themselves. It means they make conscious spending choices. They spend on things that matter and add value, and they cut back on things that don't. They might buy quality clothes that last instead of trendy outfits that fade, or choose experiences that enrich their mind over material possessions that lose value. Every purchase is measured against its impact on their long-term goals. Most importantly, this habit gives them flexibility. When you live below your means, you have room to save, invest, and handle emergencies without going into debt. You're not constantly working just to pay for the lifestyle you've created. You're working to build freedom, and that freedom comes faster for those who are willing to say, "Not yet," to the flashy life in exchange for the wealthy life. Wealthy people know that the company they keep directly influences the life they live. They are intentional about their circle because they understand that energy, mindset, and habits are contagious. If they spend time with people who complain, settle for less, or make excuses, that energy seeps into their own thinking. But when they surround themselves with ambitious, positive, forward-thinking individuals, they are constantly pushed to grow. The wealthy don't leave their network to chance. They curate it like an investment portfolio. The people they choose to spend time with are not just friends. They are mentors, collaborators, and challengers. These are individuals who set big goals, take action, and refuse to play small. When you're in a room full of people achieving more than you, you naturally stretch yourself to meet that level. Wealthy people use this principle to their advantage. They seek out environments where excellence is the norm, not the exception, and where thinking big is considered the baseline, not an act of arrogance. Surrounding themselves with winners also means aligning with people who have integrity. Wealth without ethics is short-lived, and the wealthy know that trust is one of the most valuable currencies in any business or relationship. They look for people who keep their word, deliver on promises, and add value without always expecting something in return. This creates networks that are not only powerful but also long-lasting, built on mutual respect and shared vision. They also understand the importance of diversity in their connections. Winners are not limited to people in the same industry or with the same background. Wealthy individuals expand their circle to include people with different skills, perspectives, and experiences. This variety brings new ideas, opens unexpected doors, and provides insights they might never have discovered on their own. They treat every conversation as an opportunity to learn something that could change their trajectory. Importantly, wealthy people are not afraid to cut ties when necessary. They recognize when relationships have become toxic, stagnant, or misaligned with their direction. They know that holding onto the wrong connections can drag them down faster than any external setback. While they value loyalty, they value progress even more. Protecting their mental and emotional space is as important to them as protecting their money. Most of all, they understand that being surrounded by winners isn't just about taking, it's also about giving. They show up for their network, share opportunities, and celebrate the success of others without envy. This generosity builds trust and reciprocity, ensuring that when they need help, advice, or resources, their circle is ready to support them. In this way, their network becomes more than a group of people. It becomes a living ecosystem of growth, opportunity, and shared success. Wealth is not built in a day. It is built in the small, consistent choices we make over time. From guarding our time like the rarest treasure, to feeding our minds with constant learning, to building multiple streams of income, to exercising the discipline of living below our means, and surrounding ourselves with people who lift us higher. These are not just habits of the wealthy. They are the foundations of lasting success. The truth is, you don't need $1 million to start thinking like a millionaire. You need the mindset first. The habits you practice today will shape the reality you live tomorrow. So start protecting your time, feeding your mind, multiplying your income, controlling your lifestyle, and building a powerful circle. One day, you will look back and realize that these small, daily decisions were the turning point, the quiet, unseen actions that changed everything. And when that day comes, you won't just be wealthy in money, you'll be wealthy in freedom, in purpose, and in life itself.